The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. As always, we like to come to you here at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going on out here? Well, I gave you a warning. I warned you. On Friday. I took a lot of flack for it. A lot of people said that the market only goes up, just like Jack and the Beanstalk. It would just go up to the sky. I knew we had a warning, and generally my modus operandi is one of the things I say at the very end of every show, which is sell when you can, not when you have to. And we got out a little early on the trains and the cement last week. We actually put on a short, maybe a day early, but it's paying off today. So you're not going to always be perfect, have a perfect entry in or out. But I would much rather, in fact, I'm better off than if I would have just continued to hold and hope. The stocks I had all gapped down. So that we sold them last week was a blessing. And again, sell when you can, not when you have to. We saw a lot of those warnings. I brought it up. I took a lot of flack. And I was right. So what do? You're right, and everybody tells you you're wrong. Well, in the stock market, there's a great quote in Jesse Livermore's book, Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. You've got to have confidence in yourself. It basically boils down to that. Confidence comes from knowing that you continue to read things correctly, even though a lot of people doubt you. And I have somebody I call a doubting Thomas much of the time. And it doesn't seem to bother him. But he is very much a doubting Thomas. I always say ye of little faith. Anyway, 2.2 billion shares as we start the show today. And I don't know if there's a whole lot more that you can say about it than that. And that is my history has been that when you get a lot of stocks that suddenly start testing highs with light volume, then watch out. Maybe it's not that day, and maybe you don't get the big sell signal right that day. But that is the time to exit stage left, not wait until the house is on fire. So what are we doing out here? Well, we talked about it on Friday. The options suggest we could get down to about 2240. I didn't know that we'd get down here this quick. My thought still is that we could bounce maybe on Wednesday, maybe that those 3 interest rates hike maybe sound more like 2 in the FOMC meeting. Hard to tell. But, we could get a little bounce. My guess is that bounce, if on light volume, is the time to really pull the trigger big. As I said, I have a position that I think would pay off. I think I said that Friday too. I like it. I think it will pay off in the long term more than being short the S&P 500 or any of the other standard things. We'll look for more positions, but I like it. It's got a lot of room to run and very little downside. You can always subscribe to either one of my newsletters, which is The Path of Least Resistance, the daily newsletter, or the longer-term investment newsletter, which is the Tech Insider. Problem has been this market does not really, at least for the last year, really been a great investment vehicle. But we've had some nice wins. We've had some losses, as any trading system would go. But, we already went short in the Tech Insider last week. So that will tell you a few of those positions. But again, I think that individual positions and maybe at worst, sector ETFs are the things where you're going to make the most money. Again, I don't see anything out here that says that the bottom will blow out in the S&P 500. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. But right now, not a big deal. Anyway, as always, we like to start off the show with a little bit of history.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1948, Gandhi, the world's chief advocate of nonviolence, is assassinated in New Delhi by a terrorist sponsored by the Hindu militia group. The murder came only 10 days after another failed attempt on his life. 39-year-old Godse shot the Indian leader as he made his way through a small crowd to lead a prayer session. And very interesting. This is kind of a guy that, like Che Guevara, what's his name? Che Guevara, whatever his name was. The everybody likes wearing his shirt. Everybody knows, or they think they know him. And then I have to tell people that all the horrible stuff that he did in the name of communism. Gandhi, outside of India, I've got several Indian friends, very much looked at differently in India than he is here, which is kind of very weird because, of course, a lot of people like to, depends on whether the people in academia like you. They'll write a lot of stuff about you that's all the good stuff. The bad stuff they tend to hide. Gandhi, not kind of a very nice guy, bitter racist. He spent some time in South Africa. He would make the white supremacists here rather pale. His wife, he made sure she croaked by not getting medical care. He got sick 2 weeks later, didn't have any problem with it. He told everybody it was medicine of the devil when his wife was dying 2 weeks before. When it happened to him, bring on the medicine. So I was willing to do stuff. Michael Jackson, he was kind of one of those kind of guys with the small kids, too. So just remember when we're looking through this, a lot of times you have to go a lot deeper to find out truly what the people are like. But my Indian friends enlightened me, probably more than Gandhi was enlightened. And again, it doesn't matter who you talk about, whether it's Steve Jobs or Gandhi. Everybody's human. If you're a guy, you put your pants on one leg at a time. There's always the good with the bad. And it seems like the more agitation you have during your life, probably the more skeletons in your closet you have. But there is nobody. Again, I guess I could go far enough down that road. Give you an idea that he's not everything everybody wanted to say he was. Oh yeah, did I say that as soon as he gained power, he had all of his all the people that were competing with him whacked? Yep. So anyway, Gandhi, great leader. Probably not such a great human. We'll be back after this short time out.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, we've got the elephant in the room, which is everybody yelling and screaming and at each other. I wanted to put a little texture, at least in technology, on what's going on. We've had kind of the equivalent, 2011, 2014, 2015. That's at least in recent history. We've blocked entire countries from any entry into the United States. Not a lot of yelling and screaming from Silicon Valley on that. In fact, in the last 2 days of the Obama administration, they blocked all Cubans from a policy that had been around for, I don't know how long, 25 years? Something like that. So what happened out here over this weekend to make all the Silicon Sultans, which is the name that they all have now, start yelling and screaming and a little bit of a cry storm going on? Well, they really don't care about the Cubans because none of their programmers come from there. But there's the H-1B visa program. And, of course, this has been used for quite a while to bring in what at least opponents call slave labor into Silicon Valley. That is, you bring somebody over for 3 years. If you fire them or they quit, then Apple drops a dime on them. And yes, they do get sent back to the country. But they come to work here at probably half the price of a U.S. engineer or software programmer. And it's a great deal for the folks that come over here because they're making probably 5 times or maybe 10 times what they would in their country. They go back in about 3 years, they cash for a house, and things are pretty cheap in India or some other countries that they go out here. A lot of people giving me a little flack about my position on this. I can prove to you, though, that this is probably the thing that they are most interested in and why they are being a little bit disingenuous about what's happening. Again, all these folks, Facebook, Apple, I think Microsoft to some extent, and others, had to pay almost $1 billion for fixing the price of programmers illegally just a couple of years ago. As early as 2 weeks ago, Apple had to cough up a ton of money because they were refusing to pay their lunch break time, which is the law in California, and were forced to do it. A lot of people, they kind of put on a pretty good act. They are pretty good capitalists, though. They are more than willing to keep as much money as possible, although they put a brave face out there into the public. I can prove, though, that this H-1B visa thing would not be a thing with one small change to the program, and that is if you get over here and you work for the company more than a month, you get to stay your whole 3 years. I'll guarantee you this thing would collapse like a bad souffle in an oven from 1970s TV shows where they always had that little antidote. Someone was always coming in and slamming the door and the souffle would fall. That would be about it because this is almost, it's almost indentured, i.e. that if you don't do what they say, you're canned, you're back to wherever the country you came from. And as much as these guys yell and scream about wanting all the people to come into the country, they are the first to drop a dime on any of these folks if they were to try to go to work for anyone else. So when you look at this and you see all the yelling and screaming, does it have anything to do with mostly getting incredibly cheap labor from other places? That's about it. If we might change some of this, but not all these actors are the greatest. And, of course, the happiest guy in the world right now is Mark Zuckerberg. He was about ready to face a giant storm of brown proportions because he bought 700 acres in Hawaii, but there were a few lots in there inside his 700 acres that he did not own. Well, there's a kind of a little thing in the law where if you own all the land around another little parcel, you can kind of evict the people out of it. And that's exactly what he was doing in Hawaii until everybody brought it up and made a giant brown storm out of it. I used the brown word. And he had to capitulate late in Friday night's news that maybe throwing a lot of people out of their and off their land for a non-public purpose was probably not the best thing to do. Again, these guys are human, just like Gandhi. They are not saints, nor are they Hitler. They are a regular human being. But a lot of times the news media likes to put them on a pedestal. But they do enough horrible things, a litany of things, many of them illegal. And, of course, all of these guys that are yelling and screaming are the same guys that fixed the prices of workers against the law, ended up paying almost $1 billion after it was said and done. If I was doing it, I probably would have been in jail. Other things going on out here. This is actually something I'm going to start talking about tomorrow, and I didn't have the slide ready. But I'll start talking about it tomorrow, and that is nuclear weapons for traders. We're going to talk a lot more about statistics and how things work in the market statistically. And, of course, statistics are the logic of science. They tell you whether something is anecdotal or whether it's real. But had a great weekend. And before we get into charts, I'll talk about it a little bit more. It's interesting. No, you can look it all up. It's out there. I made sure that I had all my stuff ready to go. Anyway, we'll talk about the logic of science and statistics, but pretty interesting thing. I'm just about out of time, so I'll finish the story here, was that there was a giant contest on trying to find out how you could predict cancer. And this one girl has won almost 3 of these hands down, almost got it perfect each time by figuring out machine language routines. They finally figured out that, the IDs that were supposed to be random literally weren't random, that the first third of the group never had cancer. The second half may have had an ambiguous turn on the on whether the test was accurate or not. And the last third had definitely had cancer. And they didn't randomize the results. So she was able to actually clean house, made, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000 over these 3 years, predicting all these things. The problem was statistics are a sticky thing. Just by not randomizing the actual IDs for the people, she was easily able to figure out where they came from without even looking at the data.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Well, we had the party last week where we hit 2,300 on the S&P cash. We had the party where we hit 20,000 on the Dow. And now it's back to actually working for a living. When we look at the S&P out here, we're off 18 and 19 points, 22.76. As I said, we're probably going to be working our way back down to 22.40. That's all I can see right now from the way the options look. Volume is 2.3 billion shares. So it's good. It's not great. We talked about, I think on Friday or Thursday, that I wanted to see as we hit those highs somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 billion shares on the New York Consolidated Tape. We got somewhere in the neighborhood of, 0.8 billion shares. So it wasn't, 2.8 or 2.5 and the market's going to collapse. The answer is no. It was good. It wasn't great. It was lukewarm. It was tepid, along with seeing a lot of stocks that will go back through today out here. But it continues to be, a little bit problematic. But we'll figure it out. What do we have out here? American Airlines Group. We're going to just go through the ones that gapped down here this morning and see how they've done. Do have some decent volume going back into the gap up on the 15th of November, AAL. And what do you got in that? Well, you got 13.2 million shares going into that today with 12 million shares. So it looks like at least that gap up and the last real sign of strength. I mean, you came off with the heavy volume on Friday, but continuing out here today on American Airlines, that sets up the next gap, which is down to 40. So we'll go through that. Antero Resources, another one that gapped down rather hard today. Volume, it's about what it was Thursday. But again, I don't see anything exciting in that at the moment. Ray Barrow Pharma down. Volumes picked up over the last couple of days, but not that exciting. We do have the Boeing company down lower today. Again, volume is not what it was on Friday or the previous 4 days. Might get into the last big day out here, which is 3.9 million shares. Look for that to probably a good test would be about 162 in Boeing. And what else do we have? BP down on significant volume. Looks like it's going to blow through the $35.31 low of December 15th. You still got about another, 50, 40 cents lower to get into that and actually break it. But it looks like you got the volume. To me, you want to look at BP back at about $34. That would take you back into the sign of strength, which is the 30th of November. What else do we have out here? Citigroup, a little gap down, not much volume. And now this one came down with some bigger volume, but it's kind of a violent trader already. You had a sign of strength. This thing gapped up a little. This is, again, a good example of too much. You want kind of just right. You don't want a light volume pop. You don't want too much volume, because then generally it just kind of burns itself out. But you had a nice pop out here on the 28th of November, came back, filled that gap, went back up, came back down. But right now you're going back into that gap up of, 24.8 million shares with 6 million shares. DAL, 8 million shares. Yeah, that it looks like it's going to break too. Deutsche Bank down, volume not picking up in that. Basically, you're just filling this gap up from, what is that, the 25th? Diamond Offshore Drilling, DO. Nice pop up. You got to get, now this one looks fairly interesting out here so far. We got to see how the volume comes in at the end of the day. The sign of strength was on the 30th of November. This thing came up with 5 million shares. You're back into that with a little less than half, well, about half right now. But if this thing comes up with about 3.5 million shares, you might find a bottom out here in DO. But, I don't like the crude business. I think there's a good chance that the crude goes back into that high 30s. That's at least my call. EPD, down on very light volume. This is Enterprise Partners. Fitbit, now this one gapped down, of course, significantly, but we've talked about this for a while. This thing just continues to argue down. I don't see any real bottom coming out in that. JetBlue, another one, down a little volume. It's got a gap at 18.5. I don't see any real strength on that one, just down on higher volume so far. LABU, of course, which is the alternative to the IBB. Little gap down here, not much. Let's take a look at the IBB, because these things do have a little bit of difference in them. Pretty light volume. 663, 661. If you could get down there again with light volume, this thing looks like more of a trading range. LUV, another one in the airline business, gap down. Volume not all that exciting so far. Again, light volume at $50, and that may find support. Rite Aid, this is a nightmare with everybody and buyouts and everything else. I won't go down that road too far, but that's it. RDC, and what else do we have out here? Rice Energy, Rio Tinto, little gap down, not much energy on that one. This one's kind of filling a gap that goes back to the 24th. It had a lot of juice, some nice volume of about 5.4 million shares. Got about half that today. So you could find something out here at about 43, maybe 43.50 that might find something. Don't like the risk reward there. I would much rather see this thing at about 42.50. About 42.50 on a pullback would probably be a much better risk reward. And of course, the airlines are always the ones that are getting hammered out here today. Volume is getting close to the previous low in United Continental. That was the January low at 69.75 that had 3.6 million shares. You got 3 million shares already. It looks like you could hit that. The next move down out here would be about $64. And boy, now I'm going to have to look at the news, but I'm pretty sure this is the one that continues to have computer outage problems. We covered this and talked about it for a while. That this is not the first time. This is like the fourth time, isn't it? I'm going to have to go back and look. But I remember this had just happened a whole bunch of times. What else is going on out here? Well, yeah, quiet title. Not that quiet anymore. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. Everybody's already sitting stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're going to the break here. We come back. We're going to go through a lot of the stocks that were testing highs on Friday that we were talking about. Didn't get to all of them, but we'll look at them and see how they are working out today. There were a lot of them, and we'll go through them. Give me a call, 877-927-6648.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And Angie's List, this chart didn't look very bad on Friday. Actually still going through some very high volume lows of November 2nd with 2.5 million shares. This could pop back into the trading range. This is a company I've hated. Just from the original IPO, because they'd been around for 15 years, never made a dime, still not making a dime. Again, this is the typical kind of company that does not make money before it goes to the IPO. For every Facebook that turns around and makes a ton of money, there are probably 50 Angie's Lists where the company never made money. They just said, if we get to scale, we'll make money, and they don't. But down on light volume, this could be a trade out here. Chipotle, this one, not a lot of pullback so far, but talk about testing light volume. November 14th, you had 1.8 million shares. November 18th, you had 1.5 million shares. You got into it with 3 million shares on the 10th. But then instantly pulled down. Now you're just kind of toying around at the highs with about 700,000 shares. In fact, Friday you just had 500,000 shares. Today, about 440,000 shares. So you had the sign of strength on the 10th that should have been enough probably to hold those highs. Came back, filled that gap. It's come back up here, and now the volume's kind of petered out on it. CMI, which is Cummings International, this thing has popped up through its 2.5 million share high of December 7th. You got 1.5 million shares on a spike on the 26th. You've kind of pulled back a little bit here on lighter volume. Again, you want to check when earnings are out on all of these. Cypress Semiconductor is one that broke out, had a lot of volume up. As soon as it got above, though, didn't do much above its December 22nd high of 1205, 8.75 million shares. As soon as it got above, the volume really pulled back on the 25th with just 5.8 million shares, then 6.2 million shares. Then, of course, rotated all the way back down with heavy volume on Friday of 10 million shares. You're back into the trading range of that. What else do we have out here? Clack, wanted to see how this did. Let's go back to a little longer time frame. Do we have anything? Don't. Nice click up here above previous highs. The November 22nd high in KLA 10 core was $83.23 at 3.4 million shares. You basically had 2.7 million shares was the best day around that high. Then you gapped up on Friday with 3.2 million shares. So just about the same amount of volume. So this is a little suspect. Watch if this thing comes back into the trading range. And what else do we have out here? PNR, Pint Air, Ryman Hospitality, Spectra Energy. This one was kind of an easy one to take a look at. That's Spectra Energy, SE. That's why I kind of think that overall, and I mean in 6 months, that we're probably going to see crude back down into the high 30s. I think we've kind of topped out here a little bit. At least all the charts I've seen in energy kind of make me think that. September 8th was the last major high at 43.57. A couple of days ago, we test that 18 million share with just 4 million shares. The thing did come back, kind of test the breakout area. But you're going to get a lot more juice on the way back up. If you look at my power law vector indicator number from the November 14th low up to this high, it was pretty much everything that you were looking for. SOX L. This one, you've hit a high, you gapped up. You really haven't had a lot of volume as you've gone through the candle of the 28th. That kind of makes me think this could pull back this over the next couple of days. Again, probably the strongest sector. If that one fails, get out of the way, of course, to the side downtown. Again, earlier in the show, think that maybe we see a little pop, maybe on Wednesday. If that's on light volume, probably where you want to pull the trigger short. Stamps.com. Now, this one, I think it's got earnings coming up in a few days. March 7th, you got to 123.75. Did so on 900,000 shares. Got into it with just 350,000 shares on the 25th. You're still playing away up here. But what you did have was a big move that really never had any kind of energy and just looks like a retest of this high, the September 15th low, up to this high on January 25th. The energy really kind of dropped out. You had one decent day out here with a sign of strength, and that was the November 4th, where it went up on 1.7 million shares, but that was about it. So possibly a short candidate, but I would wait until after earnings. TTMI, we talked about this one last week. We had a caller call in, and trying to remember what the deal was on that. Called in at 13.50. I said, you want to sell this thing at about $15. This did go. I think we talked about this on Friday. Maybe I did. Can't remember what I talked about. Tested the high with half the volume. Man, that's a Roman candle to get out of the way. Ring the register. Forget when maybe he'll call back. I think it was 7-9 days ago, something like that. We talked about Visa again on Friday. I wanted to see how this one reacted. Energy a little lighter than the last time on the way back up, but certainly at the highs, it has been a very clear signal that the November 10th high came in with 17 million shares. That was at 83.78. You pierced it. You did so with right at a little more than 50% of the volume on January 25th. This thing is pulled back into the trading range. The energy from that December 2nd low was not, it was off about 15, maybe 20% off that low. So continues to be problematic. WYN, which is Wyndham Worldwide. Take a look here. This is another one that tested its high. And this is, again, why I was sounding the alarm bells kind of a little bit Thursday and certainly on Friday. Just too many of these stocks up here testing on light volume, which is kind of if you're the big chicken like I am, the thing with the light volume is to get out of the way if you have longs. March 18th, $79.39, almost 3 million shares, got into it with a third of that with 880,000 shares on January 26th. Sayonara, you don't want to be up there with 1/3 of the volume. Yelp, another one out here that kind of tested the previous high. Again, 43.39 on October 5th. Did so with 2.4 million shares. Got into it with about 2.2 million shares, and then has kind of rolled over. What I really disliked on this one was not the volume up here at the highs, although it wasn't all that great. It was after the sign of strength on the 2nd of November, which was a huge short covering rally. It really hasn't had a lot of energy really since the end of December. So kind of up on very light energy back up here. Now, this is the one that probably gives me a fairly clear signal. We'll have to talk about this when we come back, and that is Yum Brands. I mean, 1/5 the volume, previous high. We'll get into this.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're looking at Yum out here again. I think it's got earnings on Wednesday or Thursday, but certainly the volume is not telling everybody a warm and rosy story. I didn't look at Google, too. I want to see how that one's doing today. Didn't really get a lot of time. Maybe we'll go through the fangs here before the end of the day. Anyway, Yum Brands, another one that was giving me a signal on Friday, actually on Thursday. This is my Friday list. But again, you don't want to see all this kind of ridiculous 20% of previous high volumes showing up. You know, if it's one or two stocks, different. If it's, now I got 40 or 50 of them, big difference after Friday's close. But again, that's where you really start noticing that the direction of the market has a lot less to do with the volume in my opinion, than the overall market volume, and a lot more to do with the individual stocks. It's kind of easy to see that ETF volumes and other kind of trading will move volumes up in the broad market. You see a bunch of stocks all at once start giving signals like Yum and some of the others we've shown today. That is the real warning signal. Now, am I predicting the end of the world? No. But certainly you've got to take a lot of pause. If I was in long in Yum and it hit a high on 20% of the volume, you wouldn't have to ask me. The button would have been clicked probably early in that day or maybe by lunch when I saw that there was no volume testing that previous high of September 2nd, 65.77, 10 million shares. And, of course, the 25th, you had 2.1 million shares, and you really kind of had that kind of light volume. Even today, down to 1.1 million shares. Again, earnings coming out, so I wouldn't be pulling the trigger. But the energy off these lows, in this case, the November 4th low, was off by about a third of the energy the way back down from that September 2nd high down to that November 2nd low. We said we'd take a quick look at some of these stocks. I want to see how Google was. That was kind of the weakest of the FANG stocks that I talked about. Certainly was printing around 7 or 820 after hours, and they held it up on Friday for a little bit, but weren't able to do it. We talked about the reasons on Thursday, so you can always go back to the archives on TFNN when we talked about Google. But again, another one of these stocks, it wasn't horrible, but I really, you were looking for about 4.35 million shares from that October 28th high. You got back into it with 1.6 million shares on the 24th. You got into it with, 1.6 million shares on the 25th. You get into earnings on the 26th with 3.3 million shares. And then, of course, the next day, people don't want to get too wigged out. But, man, the thing, of course, really comes back down the other side today. And Friday, you started having that build in volume. Now, that's where you should look for support, though. And anytime you see, 8-10 days of a stock going sideways, that's a pretty good indication you're going to find some support. That's what we hit today. And what was it, the 9th through the 20th, where this thing went pretty much sideways for an $800 stock. It was dead. But again, a lot of people were trying to get short this thing before earnings. Probably not the best path out here. So anyway, we've got a market. Looks like maybe we're going to have a little bit of a pullback here off 18 points on the S&P. Is the volume real big today? Far? No, not really. 2.5 billion shares. But it's good. It's not incredibly light like we saw on Friday. Or lighter on Friday. But again, still looking for 2240 is my first target to the downside. Hang on for the Tom O'Brien Show. Got a lot of earnings this week, and we'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.